Straight up with the auntie. Straight up with the
with
auntie.
the auntie.
Straight up. Giving you everything you need. Straight up. Dropping.
All right. We live. We don't have anybody in here right now, but we're live, guys. So we're gonna wait for a moment, right? Just for a moment. But everything we are live and it's being recorded. We are streaming through YouTube. So I'm just gonna check, see if YouTube open because sometimes they be a little later than StreamYard. A little bit behind.
Hey,
Yep.
Tracy.
Yep, we live in the house. So hello, Teresa. So anytime a question, if you have a question, we're gonna flash it across the screen. So feel free to answer or ask questions. Hey Teresa, we waiting on your other peoples.
No, see her.
Who?
There's an echo.
Teresa. Oh, there she go. Hi, Teresa. Hey, Lola.
No, it's not. That was me.
Okay. Hey Lola, how are you? Thanks for joining the podcast.
Lola, just to give a shout out to Lola. She's the one who's singing the song Straight Up with the Aunties.
All right. So, I guess we want to wait for 3 minutes. Miss Yvette, do you want to wait for a few minutes?
We can get started.
Okay. So, for you guys, we are the aunties.
Welcome. Welcome to the No Judgment Zone, where you can say what you feel and feel what you say. Just come real. Step inside and be healed. We're dropping gems and keeping it real. We are the aunties.
All right. Let's get started. My name is Dee Dee, and I am part of the aunties. And everybody else, we have guest panelists. And we thank y'all. So we just want y'all to introduce you guys. Introduce yourselves.
Okay, my name is William Pierce. I'm an educator and I'm a college basketball coach. And I greatly appreciate Dee Dee for inviting me on.
Thank you.
I am Lauren Hendricks. I'm a licensed professional counselor, also an educator, and I'm glad to be here with you. Hey, aunties.
Hey.
Hey. Next. Who we have next? Who we have next? Me.
Me.
In the house.
I'm still me. I am a student support coordinator for a nonprofit organization that is, I don't know, but yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so today our topic is forgiveness, emotional release, and relationship all tie in together. We talked a lot about the last podcast, forgiveness and emotional release. Now we're gonna add relationships to it. We did touch on that, but we didn't go into details of what actually how this affects a relationship. We have people thumbs up the live. We have people that's not even commenting that's watching also. So we want thumbs up. Thank y'all. Thank you guys for watching. Um, so we want to get started. Forgiveness, first of all, what is forgiveness? We're gonna talk about the first. I'm gonna go back to what is forgiveness first, and then the relationship uh, aspect of it. Yvette, do you wanna? You wanna? Okay, forgiveness is a personal feeling and an active process. It doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the harm that was done, nor does it necessarily mean making up with the person. Forgiveness requires nothing from the person you're forgiving, and they don't even have to know you're forgiving them. We talked about that last week. We talked about what forgiveness is, how you sort of kind of release forgiveness. We're going to go into part two. What is forgiveness in a relationship? Forgiveness, from we're not into, what is it called? We're not professionals. Well, I'm not a professional. This is my personal opinion. We do have professionals on the line, though. So just to let you know, forgiveness is an act of letting go of negative emotions such as anger, resentment, and bitterness towards the person who has hurt you. It involves an acceptance of the wrong that has been done and a willingness to move forward without holding a grudge or seeking revenge. Uh, also, it's important to distinguish, and I just added a little twist on this, distinguish forgiveness from reconciliation. We're going to go into that. Forgiveness is personal. It's an eternal process where one finds peace and releases negative emotion tied to grievance. Reconciliation, on the other hand, involves restoring a relationship to its former state, which may or may not follow forgiveness. It requires mutual effort and agreement from parties involved. So, Yvette, do you want to add something before I go
On forgiveness, no.
on? Yeah.
You basically covered the definition of it.
So I'm gonna keep reading, and then I'm gonna let you guys chime in. The impact of forgiveness in relationship. Forgiveness plays a pivotal role in nurturing healthy relationships. Again, we're talking about relationships. Relationship don't necessarily be a husband or wife, a boyfriend or girlfriend. It could be a friend. Did your dog do something to you? You gotta forgive them. No. Okay. It acts as a healing balm, soothing past hurts. I read that. Did I read that part? Impact of forgiveness in relationship, or did I just? It acts as a healing balm, soothing past hurts and paving the way for a renewed sense of partnership. Empathy is a cornerstone in this process, where understanding your partner's perspective becomes crucial. Open and honest communication also facilitates forgiveness, allowing both parties to express their feelings and seek common ground. In a relationship, forgiveness means the conscious decision to let go of resentment and anger towards a partner who has hurt you, or towards a person who has hurt you, or towards your friend, whoever they are, allowing for healing and rebuilding trust, ultimately promoting a healthier and more positive connection between individuals. Is considered a vital component for a successful relationship, demonstrating strength and love rather than weakness. Okay, healing power. Forgiveness can help mend wounds caused by past hurt, etc., etc. Now I'm going to ask a question to one of you guys to answer. I got a question here. Is it possible to truly move on from hurts and of the past? Hey, Emmanuel.
Hey, Emmanuel.
Why is forgiveness so crucial in every relationship? That's the question. Who want to answer that? Come on, panel. We have people watching. Why is forgiveness so crucial in every relationship? Why is it?
Forgiveness is crucial because it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. It's natural and regular, right? Very common, if you will, to have disagreements, right? Or to have, some type of situation or communication where you may have had your feelings hurt, or you feel like someone has done you wrong. You have to have forgiveness. You have to be able to, because being able to forgive means that you're able to move forward, right? You're not to where you're not being resentful, where you're not holding things and hindering progress for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Okay. Do anybody else have anything to say
I can
about
agree.
forgiveness?
I can agree with Lauren about her perspective on forgiveness in relationships. Um, in order to have growth, there has to be that space where mistakes are allowed to be made, because we are human. It's inevitable. We're going to make mistakes. There are going to be misunderstandings, and you have to give that room if you want the relationship to grow. So, but it requires you to be selfless.
When you say selfless, what do that mean? What does selfless look like?
Selfless means putting the other person before yourself, putting their feelings, their thoughts, the emotions before yourself. Um, so, when you gave your definition of forgiveness and reconciliation, and you talked about understanding the other person's perspective, because a mistake might have been made, but the intention might have been great, but there was something that lacked there. And reconciliation involves us coming together and understanding each other's point of view and having empathy for one another as well.
Okay. So is it possible to move on from
I think it depends on the level of forgiveness, because it could be where you really not thinking about the other person's feelings, and you don't care about the other person's feelings because of what they've done. So I think forgiveness, you have to forgive for yourself, because unforgiveness can cause sickness, a lot of things. So basically, I think you're forgiving for you.
Okay. Great point. Great point. Do anybody else have anything to say before I move on with
To answer your question, Dee Dee, yes, it's possible. It's possible to move on from any type of hurt that anybody put you through. It's just a matter of whether or not you desire to move on. Granted, there are some people who find it harder than others because the grievance may have been something that they feel like they can't get past. But I feel like in order to truly move on, the forgiveness has to go forth. And it's not saying that you're going to forget whatever happened to you, but you can forgive and still remember the hurt, but still move on. It's just that when you remember it, it's just a matter of forgiving a person again.
okay.
Or even being able
Okay.
to remember it and then not having that negative impact.
And
Okay. So is that truly forgiveness? How do you know you actually, from you guys' point of view, that you actually forgave somebody? Hello, Media One. Hello, Emmanuel. Hello, Cherise. Hello, Brenda. Hello, everybody that's on the line that has not commented. Welcome to the podcast.
Personally, I believe I know that I've forgiven someone when I can pray for them, or when I desire the best for them, when I don't want the wrath of God to come down in their life. And I can walk past them without.
Or the wrath of yourself, right?
I feel like the wrath of God is worse, because if I administer my wrath, I'm gonna get in trouble. So what good is that? So yeah.
I think part of forgiveness is being able to see yourself in that person's wrong as well. Like there are some things that I probably would never do that another person may do, but I may have thought of it. And my emotions might have gotten to a point where I might have even considered doing something like that. Or I might just be totally ignorant to what I'm doing, and that person might have been that way as well. So when I put myself in their shoes, I can't just point the finger at them and say, "Hey, you were wrong. This, that, and the third. You need to pay," because I'm pretty sure there's something that I've done wrong that I probably should pay for. And I'm not going to weigh the level of wrongs, but in order for me to consistently forgive a person, I have to wake up every morning,
Mhm.
and when that emotion comes, whether it's an irritation or grief or something, I have to tell myself, okay, we're going to move past this. It's something I have to put into practice consistently over and over and over when it comes to that situation.
You're muted, Dee Dee. I believe she has some technical difficulties with her audio equipment. So Yvette, lead the-
Yes, ma'am. So I think forgiveness, when you know you've forgiven someone, is, for me, it's
I like to add something.
I'm a very forgiving person I don't know, it's just in me to be a forgiving person. But when I know I've really forgiven someone, I pray for them. And they say the best way, if you're a person of faith, the best way to forgive someone is to pray for them. Also, I no longer harbor. I'm not vindictive, so that wasn't a problem. But I can pray for them. Who is that? Charles and Ray agreed there has to be some accountability. What do you mean by accountability? Do the other person have to apologize? Not sure what you mean by accountability.
I believe they are piggybacking off of what Mr. Pierce.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any other questions on forgiveness?
Well, I wanted to say another thing as far as what he said about accountability. I don't think a person has to be held. Well, it's one thing to hold them accountable, but they may not hold themselves accountable for you to forgive them. Forgiveness is for you. Because what was said earlier is when you harbor that resentment, when you hold in that grudge, that anger, it's only affecting you. The other person is in la land, moved on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, it might affect you if you were able to tell them that you forgive them. That might have a grand effect on you, but it's for you. Because when you harp on that resentment, that anger, that frustration, and you never move past it, you kind of just compartmentalize it. It comes out in the weirdest ways. It comes out in other relationships. It comes out in your day-to-day life, whether you know it or not.
It does.
And holding in that type of stress, like you said earlier, can cause disease and health, physical health issues within yourself.
Put up walls.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as relationships, you might have unforgiveness for a person that did you wrong in a relationship, and then the right person might come along and you thinking about what the other person did, which is stopping you from getting with the person that means well. So unforgiveness is, like he said, it's for you, and a person may not ever be accountable for what they did. And some people do stuff and they sleep good at night. But it's for you. You have to forgive for you, whether they ask for forgiveness or not.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Someone said they can listen to you talk all day long. Mr. Pierce.
Who said that?
Don't read it.
Stay humbled.
Yes. I agree with staying humble. You have to be
No,
humble.
The person name is Stay Humble.
Oh,
The person name is Stay Humble. You
No.
can't see the chat.
yes, I see the chat now.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, but I was going to say it takes a level of humility to
It
be able to
does.
forgive. You have to be humble. I mean, that goes back to
Does.
looking at yourself, because
Yeah,
I mean, I want to be forgiven when I make mistakes.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. Again, like if you're a person of faith, I mean, we have been forgiven for so many things. So who are we not to, forgive?
hmm
I'd say give what you want to receive.
Now, the person that brought up accountability,
Mm-hmm.
as far as holding yourself accountable to the wrongdoing, that says a lot about your integrity. And if you want to reconcile a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
yes, there should be some accountability held on the person that did the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They should be able to speak up, and they should be able to speak up in a way where they kind of feel the damage that they caused. There has to be some understanding. And then, yes, there has to be an agreement that we're going to do what it takes to reconcile the relationship. And that takes two.
Yeah. That's if you want to continue a relationship with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's,
Yeah.
Did she get back on yet? So after forgiveness and trying to heal, what's some
emotional
healing? If you
emotional release. What is emotional release? Is the process of letting go of trapped emotions, which can lead to a sense of relief, or catharsis. That's what emotional release is. It kind of ties in forgiveness. Can you, Ms. Hendricks, can you explain what emotional release is? Or is she muted?
hold on, Ms. Hendricks. There's a question. There's a question in the comments from Lola.
So after forgiveness and trying to heal, what's some advice on healing if you become numb to it? Anyone want to answer that? Yes.
I think when you run from it, or you really don't want to deal with it, you put it to the side and you become numb to it. You have to sit down and have to go through that process. Like with traumas, especially like deep emotional traumas, it can be really hard to sit in it and go through the process of what happened, how it made me feel, and ask yourself those hard questions. That can be very challenging. So a lot of us, I can attest to this for myself, being numb to it was me running from that process of going through my emotions, actually accepting what it was, what happened, how it made me feel, how it's affected me, going through that whole process. Then you won't be numb to it. You can express it now. And
okay, you said the process of overcoming being numb is go through it. You said, can you repeat that?
I was gonna say, when I mean go through it, talk about it. Find you a safe person to express it, or write it down. Write it in a journal. Write down your thoughts. Read it. Meditate on it. Cry if you need to. If you need to go to the place that Tiffany talks about going to, where you go break stuff and
a rage room.
Yeah, a rage room. Let it out. You know what I mean? Let that emotion out in a healthy way. Some people go and work out. Some people pray and meditate, listen to music. But find a way to channel that energy in such a way where you can let out the negative and then sit on it and think about it.
No. Miss Hendricks said on the last podcast, she said to cry. She said, if you got to do that ugly cry, do that ugly cry. Scream, whatever it takes.
Mhm.
And like Tiffany suggested, maybe you might need a rage room.
I don't think yeah, being numb to something doesn't mean that you actually healed from it. It just means that it's something you're hiding from at this point. So the more you repress your feelings or refuse to acknowledge what you're going through or what happened to you, that's just going to affect you negatively and your future relationships.
True. That's true. And I apologize, y'all. Y'all gotta give me a couple minutes for my camera.
Okay.
But definitely the feeling numb, just like Tiffany just said, that doesn't mean that you're healed. The numbness is really you are avoiding your feelings. You might be it might be like a shield of protection for you, where okay, you know what, I'm gonna just, I don't feel anything. Is We call that disassociation. And so, it will depend, but it doesn't mean that you are healed, or that there's not more work for you to do with that, because it's necessary. Just like Mr. Pierce said, it's necessary for you to sit in those feelings, whatever that may be, because under that numbness is something else. So you have to be able to label whatever it is that you're feeling. If you can't label it, then you can't, you can't work with it, right? And so if that numbness of what you call, and if up under that is, fear or guilt or anger, or whatever it may be, you have to be able to identify that so that you can work through what you need to work through. And people work through that in different ways depending on, that individual.
Yep. Like Mr. Pierce said, music, exercise, meditation. Some people meditate.
Um,
Relaxing, positive affirmations.
I think it's really healthy to come up with a game plan for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, one, you could go to therapy, find a counselor that will
Mm-hmm.
help you get out those emotions that are hidden by the questions they ask and get you to think. Um, like find a hobby, something that can keep you calm, but would allow you to think calmly. Um, Another thing is find a safe person, like a person that you love, that you can trust, that you can express, that knows you. So when you express yourself, they can give you some feedback. Someone that you will listen to, that you know you care about very deeply, that they won't go and tell anybody, because that can cause problems too. And lastly, set a goal. Set a goal for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it might take you years to get over something, or you can get over something in a matter of months. But set some goals, because there's going to be points where like something might be so heavy that it feels like it's breaking you, but you can actually see yourself going through the process and not quit because you set some goals along the way.
And celebrate those goals, right?
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even while as you're going along and you're hitting those little steps, whatever they may be, it might be something as simple as, I want to be able to get through the day and not cry, about that situation, because I haven't forgiven the other person, because I haven't, worked through what I needed to do. And so when you're able to do that and you recognize it and plot it for yourself, it helps to give you that additional motivation, right? Because like what we talked about earlier, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. That person may not ever know that you've forgiven them, may not even care, and that's okay. The
Mm-hmm.
work that you're doing is for yourself so that you can move forward, be happy and whole. And
Mm-hmm.
so going through that process, right, might require you to go through some ugly stuff, some nasty stuff, because again, you have to be able to put all of that on the table, to
Mm-hmm.
identify what it is, right, to put a name to it, to label it. And
Mm-hmm.
now, okay, I know what this is now. And you may have to do that every single day. until you get to a point to where, okay, you know what? I didn't even think about it today. Oh, it's another day. You know what? And to where somebody asks you about it. Oh, I haven't thought about that in a while. And now you are, now you at the point to where, okay, I can say I've moved forward from this situation. Right. And it doesn't mean that it's erased from your memory. It doesn't mean that, the feelings that you had are not valid or anything like that. Your experience that you had, what you talked about, what you worked through, what you dealt with is still all very valid and real. It means that now it's not affecting your day to day.
Laurice said, what helped me to forgive was prayer, talking about it, and realizing my role in the situation. That's a good point. Sometimes recognizing what part you played in it and learning from it can help.
I can agree with that.
Mhm.
Because some situations cause we put ourselves in those situations. And coming to terms with that will allow us to learn, and just gaining that wisdom can help us overcome some of those negative emotions that we hold in.
And Brenda,
Because forgiveness might be for yourself. So,
Yeah.
you might be forgiving yourself for making that decision or
that's
for putting yourself in that situation.
true. Sometimes we do have to forgive ourselves for things that we do. Brenda said, I'm a very forgiving person. I love too hard to have unforgiveness in my heart. That's good. Sometimes it's for some people it's easier, and for some people it's not. Um,
I think unforgiveness and forgiveness are learned. I mean, it from your environment.
mhm,
If you grow up in an environment where everyone is forgiving and everyone communicates their feelings and stuff, it could be a lot easier to do that if you're taught at a young age versus, where you grow up in an environment where there's a lot of resentment,
mhm,
there's a lot of lying, or
mhm,
a lot of holding in emotional baggage.
mhm.
So that can conflict, that can cause people to be afraid to humble themselves or step
Mhm.
out on a limb and let others know that what they're doing is causing harm. Um, that could be a scary place.
It can. And if someone, we had a number, it was 988. If you need to talk to someone.
Hmm.
Yes, that's that national suicide um hotline. And so that is a number that's available all, 24/7 if anybody needs to talk or, process any type of thoughts or feelings that they might be having or feel
Mhm.
like they're in danger.
And Lola said, I forgive very easy. I think it's pros and cons. Um,
I think people who forgive easily
mhm,
or who generally have a big heart,
mhm,
you have to be careful with that, because just because you're forgiving someone, that doesn't mean that you have to allow those people back into your life. And
true.
me, I may or may not be that type of person. So I had to learn from my, I had to learn, I had to learn for myself that just because I care about somebody and I may feel sorry for them, that doesn't mean that they need to be in my life.
Exactly. I think I understand what she's saying. She forgive, and a lot of times when you're a forgiving person, people take kindness for weakness, and you feel walked on. Um, you feel like you're too nice, but you have to draw. It's a line. You have to draw the line. I mean, you could forgive, but you don't have to deal with that person. You don't have to continue to let someone abuse you or misuse you?
Well, my main reason for forgiveness is based on my faith.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go to the Lord to repent and ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And Scripture says that if I want to be forgiven, I must forgive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the foundation of why I forgive. I have to release because I want to be forgiven. I know I'm wrong. I know I do. I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's always been a very forgiving person. So I think that's something that's just in me. But if I just because I forgive you, that don't mean I'm a deal with you. Continue to, but and then forgiveness is love. Like again, if you're a person of faith, you love you. God loves you. You love God's people. So I mean, it's gonna be there. The
I
love of people and forgiveness is gonna be there. If not, it's coming.
But I truly believe that there is power behind saying that you forgive a certain person for their actions. Just saying it out loud. You might even have to tell that person, but
Uh-huh.
telling yourself, like, I forgive, I release this, we're moving on from it.
It is.
Definitely.
That's like saying words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I forgive. And if you keep saying it, it's coming. It's gonna happen. And how does that tie in with? Well, we touched on relationships, and we touched on relationships. The definition of relationships is it's a connection between two or more people and can be positive or negative. Relationships can be friendly, romantic. It can be your family or professional, and can vary in closeness.
Yep. And so I think that depending on what type of relationship it is will, impact the way that or how easily someone forgives another person.
You're welcome.
Well,
My phone, I feel upside down now. I do it.
Just
Oh,
process
that's
over.
why. My phone. I'm on my phone. I'm back. I'm back.
You
I'm
back?
here, y'all.
Welcome back.
Just FYI, her birthday is on the 1st. I just wanted everybody to know that.
Oh, I'm
Hey.
the computer won't let me back in. It tried to stop me from being on here. I hear y'all. Y'all keep on going.
I do agree that it does depend on the relationships, but sometimes the most intimate relationships are the hardest to forgive because
Yes.
there's a sense of betrayal that goes along with the wrong from that person because we tend to people that we cherish the most, we put them in this space. It's like we have this idea of this person and then they disconnected from that idea and we're like, what the heck? And that's the part that we can't do. We have to allow people to be human beings and make mistakes. And I truly believe that when you reconcile from the wrongs that happen in relationships, that's where the growth comes in. That's where the connection becomes stronger, whether it be brother, sister, mother, father, best friends, or romantic, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. I think that's where you build, that's where it becomes stronger. But you have to go through that process. You have to be willing to go through that process.
You do? So, I know where I leave off at.
I don't know. It was like 40 minutes ago. So
I got to look right here, y'all. You got to be willing to go through that process. So, what do that process look like? Because I wasn't on here for a minute. And
Okay.
again, I don't know if y'all really answer. Can you truly move on? Because I have
Mhm.
this little notes. I gotta go on my other phone now to get the little notes.
Well, to
Yes.
to
Come on.
move to move on is a decision.
True.
That's just a choice. Yes, you can move on. The
True.
process to moving
Yeah.
on
It's gonna
might,
vary.
yeah, it's going to vary depending on the people, the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but once you define that process, then it's like, okay, are we going to do this work to move? Am I going to put in the work for myself
Yep.
to move past this,
Wow.
um, or am I not?
Yep. Because just like you said earlier, the forgiveness is for you. And so you have to do the work. Otherwise, if you're not doing anything differently and making necessary changes for you, then you will stay stuck in that space. And so, just like you just said, it's a choice. Are you willing to do it? And that's where people get hung up because it's hard work.
It's
It
uncomfortable.
is. And then depending
You
on
know, when we're talking about true forgiveness with people that are close to us, because like we talked about earlier, as far as if the people that are closest to us are oftentimes the ones that's hardest to forgive because there's an emotional attachment there.
Mhm.
So we're getting those things that make us feel like we are having a basic need met in some way with those relationships versus somebody in the store bumping you on accident and
Mhm.
apologize. You like, oh, okay, no problem. That's still a level of forgiveness, even though it's not that big of a deal.
I have a question. I'm gonna be open for a minute. I consider myself a very forgiving person. Um, but I'm thinking about it, and have I really forgiven, or just have I went numb to the situation? I think it's a close line. The two are very close because I mean, first angry at the person. Like I'm only gonna argue with you if I care about you. If I don't care about you, I'm not arguing with you. I'm like, oh well, okay, gone about your business. But if I care, like he said, person close to me, I'm gonna argue with you. Also, so after a while, I don't care anymore, so I don't argue with you anymore. So I mean, have I really forgiven, or have I just went numb to the situation?
Oh, only you would know, right? Only
Now,
you would know that. And
I don't know. It's something to think about.
true. But you know when you have forgiven. That's another thing. When you confront it with the situation, you gonna know.
And
And
what if you just don't care anymore?
then what you mean don't care?
That could
I
just
mean,
be
that
you
level
being
of
protecting
closeness,
yourself.
true, that's what I'm saying. That level of closeness is not there anymore. So whatever, it don't bother me anymore. But have there really been forgiveness?
I feel like only you can determine whether or not you've forgiven that person.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know how you feel toward that person.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
it could be any number of things. It could be you trying to avoid. It can be you protecting yourself. It could be that you forgiving that. It just, but
Hmm.
only you can really determine that.
Ooh, so I got she said that because I was trying to get to this point. Okay.
Hmm.
So forgiveness is a vital part of any healthy relationship.
Hmm.
The writer says the only problem is forgiveness alone can't heal a relationship.
Mm,
Forgiving someone and trusting that person again are two very different things.
Hmm.
It answers what you said. So it does not uh necessarily help the relationship. I mean,
Hmm.
but it's like you said in the beginning, it helps us to forgive. But I thought it was very interesting to say forgiveness alone cannot heal a relationship. I was like, wow. You
Hmm.
know, we'll talk about that. Forgiving someone and trusting that person again are two very different things. Could we expound on that? Because to be real, a lot of us, I don't know, okay, so I'll be real with I have had in the past unforgiveness. I held it on for dear life. Okay.
Toward who? I'm joking.
So, but even by me forgiving that person, it still did not. And I was like, wow, it's still. I'm still not close to the person,
So
right? Even though I have forgiven the person, so it's okay, people out there. Forgiveness is a process, and don't beat yourself up.
And it doesn't mean reconciliation.
It does not. So
You don't have to talk to the person again.
no, just playing.
You I'm saying you know, you can forgive somebody and never talk to them again in life. You
Right.
know,
Yeah. And if
and that's okay.
only if you want to, right? Look, that camera's only if you want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
so
Even if
forgive
that's
it.
all right, it still may not reconcile that relationship.
It takes a lifetime to build trust and 1 minute to destroy it.
That's right.
What'd you say? I can.
I said something very profound. You missed it.
I did.
Rebuilding trust and forgiveness are two different processes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two different decisions that have to be made.
Yeah.
Because if I'm the person that did the wrong and we're going to work on this, I might have to hear about this for quite some time before she moves past it, before the trust is built. So I might have to hear it over and over and over, and that might be required, you know, for her to get it out, or him to get it out, or whatever. But those are two different dynamics. Trust, like Tiffany just said, it takes a lifetime to build trust, but a second to crush it. But trust is built off understanding that person's character too, you know, and you get to see somebody at their worst, you might not trust them.
That's like judgment to me.
I mean, it might take time. Like he said, you have to build it up again sometime. That's if you want to be in that relationship.
Laurie said once she betrayed. Once you betray me, I never trust you again. But I have forgiven them. So is that possible? Is it possible to trust the person that you've forgiven?
I think you can.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to forgive
with time?
Is it possible? Laurie said once somebody betray her, she can't trust them again, but she can forgive them. Is it possible to trust a person you have forgiven?
I think it depends on what the trust is. Are you trusting them with your finances? Are you trusting them with your heart?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you have to define where that trust lies.
Mm-hmm.
What you forgiving them for? First of all.
Yep. And then you have to define what you forgiving them for.
It depends on the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Is it your husband? Is it your wife? Or is it just? It depends on how close the person is to you.
What advice would you give someone seeking closure? I know you can't always get that.
Does it depend on how close the person is?
For me, it does.
I think it does depend on the dynamic of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you choose to try and trust a person again. Doesn't mean it's always going to work out, though.
I love this. Y'all get some folks healed. Y'all get some folks. Because on here, people, we are a no judgment zone. I got to look at this camera. I'm looking different over here. Looking different. It's looking different. I can't even squeeze it down. But
you're still cute.
We are a no judgment zone. We're talking actually what we have experienced, and we have some professionals on here. But feel free to ask any question you would like, because we're not judging you, because one of us have been there once upon a time. So Lola has what advice would you give someone seeking closure?
Closure.
I can't always get that. What you, Lola, where you mean? What advice would you give someone?
I think you can always get it. You
She
might
said
not get it from the person.
closure.
Oh, closure.
Yeah.
Closure.
Closure.
I
Oh.
think to have closure, you have to have understanding. There has to be an understanding of one, what happened. You have to have some empathy for the other person, because a lot of people do stuff because they're not in the best places. You have to have an understanding of self. It really just starts with you. You really have to understand yourself, because you might not be able to have closure because you have underlying issues that are keeping you from closing that chapter in your life or closing that door that go much deeper than the wrong that happened.
Mhm.
And the closure you may be seeking may not be what you want to hear. It may make the situation a little bit worse than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so good.
Mm-hmm.
So therapy is a must, right? Especially, well, I think everybody should go to therapy. I don't care. I don't care if you ain't got nothing wrong with you. You gonna find out something going on with you when you go to therapy.
So to answer the question, you can always get closure.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily from, if you're seeking it from the person,
No.
Yeah.
if you're seeking closure from the person, I mean, that's your decision on whether or not you want to seek that from them. But like I said earlier, it may not be what you want to hear. It may make you feel worse than what you were feeling before you went into that situation to get that closure. But it comes a point where you just have to be sure within yourself of why something happened. You just have to be comfortable with moving on with that situation, from that situation.
I mean, that's exactly what somebody said. Teresa said, forgive is to forgive and move on, period. But that's her opinion. Absolutely, it depends on the person. That's what we all said. Anything else?
So, like Teresa just said, to forgive is to forgive and move on, period. That's my opinion. You just have to define what moving on is for you. Moving on could be, I'm releasing it. We ain't gonna talk about it no more, and we're gonna focus on building a relationship. Moving on mean I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I understand. You hurt me. I felt like this. It's fine. I'm gonna learn from it, but you have to stay 6 feet away from me, or you got to keep a distance from me. And that's okay too. You just have to define what that looks like for you.
I just want to read I don't know if we all went over potential challenges. We probably did with forgiveness, repeated offenses. There's one big thing about forgiveness when a person actually, forgiveness is not a license to tolerate continual harmful behavior. So if a person is actually, I mean, like you said, you get away from it. This injury, do I need to? Jesus, get away from it. Is it always possible for a person to get away from it? Especially if they're a child or younger, ain't on their own, live with their mama, their parents, all that type of stuff. Do we have any of these in here? We got some young people in the house. Do we? So repeated offenses. Forgiveness is not a license to tolerate continual harmful behavior. And another thing, difficult letting go. Some people may struggle to release resentment, requiring support to process their emotions. There we go with counseling. There we go, y'all. Unrealistic expectations. Forgiveness is a process that takes time and effort, and immediate resolution may not be possible. That's real life, right? Everybody on here, that's real life.
Yep.
Life. I mean, I'm just saying, I just how I deal with me. It may not always turn out like Tiffany said, the way you want it, or it just may not turn out always. So your expectation may be a little too high, actually. Well, no, forgive me, not a little too high for yourself, okay? Because you always should think highly for yourself. But I want somebody to um really go into repeated offenses. I don't know if we did that. If a person keep on, you help me out.
So
If a person keeps on hurting,
Cheating.
If
If
they,
you're in a relationship and a person keep cheating and you keep forgiving them,
that's a matter of self-respect and self-esteem. Like if you keep allowing a person, and may or may not have done this, if you keep allowing a person into your life knowing that they are going to treat you like trash and they have shown you that and you've taught them that, they are not going to change how they treat you until you make it apparent that you've grown some level of self-respect and some level of self-esteem and you refuse to allow that person to treat you that way anymore. That means not going back into that situation for some people.
Yeah, but what if the person can't?
And go to therapy.
it goes back to making a decision. I mean, if you're gonna continue to forgive, that's one thing. But what actions are you taking for yourself is another. Because I can choose to forgive and just keep forgiving and they're just gonna keep doing what they're doing. Or I can choose to forgive and say, hey, you can't do this anymore. And the only way I know how to keep you from doing this is to remove myself.
And that's where accountability comes into,
Mm-hmm.
because you're playing a role in your own suffering.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, because we teach people how to treat us. And so if people are repeatedly doing things that, offend us in whatever way, and we continue to, even if we are forgiving them, but we continue to allow it,
mhm,
right? Then we're telling them that it's okay.
I'll
And so
just
that's when we have to, just like, everyone is saying, okay, we got to do something different and let them know, like, no, this is not okay. Whether it is okay, we have a conversation. I give you a chance to do it. We figure out some kind of way to get, okay, you want me to remind you or whatever it is, or I may have to just remove myself, but those, again, are all those choices and decisions that we made in regards to how we're going to deal with people in relationship once we've made it to a decision to forgive.
I love what you just said. You said you treat people how to treat you. A lot of people don't know that though.
Mhm.
Girl, I said that.
Well, I didn't hear you say it. I just him to say it. Wait,
Oh my God.
You teach people how to treat you.
You do teach people how to treat you.
each one.
wow.
But that requires you not to be naive. That requires you to speak up for yourself,
That's that accountability.
hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
So anybody out there, do you have any more questions for us before we release you guys? Do you have any questions for us? Do you know forgiveness doesn't mean? Okay. She says forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay in a toxic situation.
Sure doesn't.
Forgive and move on.
Friendship or otherwise.
How do Brittany get it? You got to send her the YouTube thing. Oh,
It depends. Again, I think it depends on the relationship. Like if it's a husband and wife, if you forgive them and forgive them, maybe once or twice,
I think you have.
and you try to stay until the trust is built again. So it depends on the relationship. I mean, some relationships you just don't walk away from that quick.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
Asking.
I had another thought on forgiving someone over and over. A lot of times we forgive over and over, but we have to give room for that person to grow. So that might require us to leave a situation so they can go work on something. Because that it's not just that they're doing that to you, that's a part of their character. That's who they are. They would do that to the next person. So that's something that they need to, maybe you're pointing that out. Like, you keep doing this. This is you. This is who you are. You need to go fix that. Then we can have a conversation. But you can't do this to me anymore.
Okay, so I just got this okay, she want to say, let me tell y'all about repeated offenses with someone you're co-parenting with. This person has helped me with forgiving because, woo, Lord, he's disrespectful. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna go for some relationship you have to walk away from. True. Here's a few verses. Mr. Pierce, I know you want to get to the word, and because we are born again believers, we want to actually put a scripture out there because that's what we believe. Here's a few verses on forgiveness. Ephesians 32, be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Colossians 3:13, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. That's okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am, certainly.
Teresa, you have to send her the YouTube link.
The same way you got in. The same way you got in, Miss Teresa. So those are the scriptures disappears. You got another one. The word says, as far as what we believe, you got, or your heavenly Father won't forgive you. And plus, it's good for you to forgive and let go all this stuff, so you won't be building up all this hostility in you. So diseases and all that type of stuff. That stuff is for real. Y'all might think it's funny. Not true, but that stuff is true. It eats away at people. People start looking, they start having things going on in their body, don't know what's happening. When they check, they got something they ain't let go.
What book are you in, Mr. Pierce?
No, I was about to reference a book that I always go back to. Is this book here, Relationship Principles of Jesus. I always go back to that book because it breaks down all of Jesus's relationships in the Word, but it gives every aspect. So, like, he was talking about forgiveness in here, and I always go back to my reason for forgiveness is because I want the Lord to forgive me. But for me to forgive someone, it requires me to sacrifice my own thoughts and feelings to be able to release it. I have to. It's sacrificial. Like, I have to be able to let it go. Like, because we want judgment. When somebody wrong us, we want judgment. We want to see that person get what's coming to them. A lot of times.
If we be truthful, truthful people.
I really don't.
In the beginning, you did.
No.
Never? Oh, well.
In the beginning, absolutely.
No, I don't.
You did.
It's definitely some people that,
I don't
like, okay,
I don't want anything to happen to them, especially if I care about you.
Drastically to them.
It also depends on the offense.
Justice.
Yeah.
They don't have to be drastic stuff, but you want some drastic because of how they made you feel. Okay, well, I'm just being me. Okay.
No, because
you want something to happen. You want some form of a punishment.
Well,
most people. Whether it is you just cussing them out, whether it is I want them to have a flat tire, whatever.
I will just walk away. It don't follow me though.
She said,
leave me alone.
I will just cut you off. Honestly, I'm not a revengeful person.
That's how I am now. Because the Lord has greatly held my tongue, especially with certain people.
Thank God.
Because it's not really worth it to try and get revenge on a person. It's better to just move on.
And And I'm saying, even with
And
being
our-
able to recognize that that takes work, right? Forgiveness, or even making the decision to forgive, is
Mhm.
just the first step.
Yeah.
That's just the first step. You then have to make the decision on all of these other things. Okay. How am I going to do it? What does that look like? And how am I going to move on? And what does that look like? And all of that. But just, the forgiveness part is just, that's just the first step. All right. I'm going to forgive this person.
Yeah, that's the first step. What's the second step, Miss Hendricks?
It depends.
forgiven.
Mhm.
It depends, right? Okay, now I want to forgive this person. How am I going to do that? What do I need to do? What does that look like? The second, third, and fourth steps is all the stuff we just talked about, because all of those, well, what if this happened, and then what about with that part? Those
Mhm.
are all of the steps that follow. Figuring out, okay, do I want to deal with this person? Do I want to forgive them and still kick it? Or do I want to forgive it and I don't follow me? Right? Like she just said, like, no, stay over there. All of those things are the next steps.
Mhm.
Okay. Don't follow me. But she didn't though. She don't know that's part of, like, that's what I was saying. You don't got necessarily. I ain't never want to.
Mhm.
Only reason why when I was younger, I wanted to, because the hurt that I felt. So that felt I wanted them to feel the hurt that I felt.
Hmm.
That's why I was saying that if it's called revenge, it's called revenge. But I wanted I wanted them. I'm hurt, so I wanted them to feel the hurt that I felt.
Sorry.
Did I want them to get run out by a car? No. And I want them to
She
go.
has to log into YouTube. Teresa, she has to log into YouTube.
But
I ain't even
Can I-
care if they
can
felt
I-
the hurt that I felt.
that's why. That's
I want.
why. I can actually tell you how to forgive. Not saying you can't, because
Mhm.
there are people that want to take vengeance. Okay, it ain't gonna do you no good. You still gonna
So
be,
what about forgiving the person that isn't remorseful for their wrong, and
Mhm.
versus forgiving a person that is very remorseful for their wrong? They're like, I'm so sorry, and you can see that they are very apologetic and they have changed behavior. But then you have that person that has wronged you, and they don't care. They just like whatever, or they that far gone in whatever it is they're going through that they don't even care it affects you.
but does that matter though?
Vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
That don't matter, because you still got to forgive, right?
Yes, I think from a spiritual aspect, no, that doesn't matter. But in our human mind, we're like that connection. That
That's
connection.
that's true, Sharice.
If she's on her phone, I don't know how to do it, Teresa.
This new man and get mad.
Girl,
That's your mindset.
that's girl. But I'm
That's true.
girl. But
So anyway.
so she probably don't have she not I don't know, if she's clicking on that link, she should just go straight to the YouTube. She on YouTube. She should be on YouTube. And okay, so what comments you want me to click? So it's everybody's comment. We done went through relationship. Are you all well, I know Ms. Hendricks says,
If you truly want to be free, walk away, move on with your life. It doesn't have to be toxic. You don't have to be involved with the other party.
true. That's absolutely true. Except for if you're a teenager, you staying in the home.
Or if you're in a marriage, or
Yeah.
you,
No,
I mean, it's
That's where all of those next steps come in, right?
walk away from it.
Because it depends on who you're forgiving, what's the situation, and all of that. If you talking about forgiving your spouse, are we talking about forgiving your spouse because you forgot to take the trash out, or am I forgiving you for infidelity? When you're talking about children, okay, yeah, you have to forgive your parents. You can't move.
Mhm.
Parents, you have to forgive your kid. You can't put them out, right? But we're talking about a coworker. Okay, yeah, I gotta kind of forgive you, not, but stay over there. We don't have to work
Right.
together.
That's
Right.
easy.
But I'm gonna forgive you because as a Christian, God tells me to, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I forgive you, but don't talk to me again.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely.
You know, so it depends, and that's all of those next steps. And you know, even as Christians, the reality of it is, yes, God tells me to forgive you, but I don't have to like you, and I don't have to deal with you, and so I may not do that, and so that may be a part of my forgiveness. Where okay, yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm allowing myself to say, "Yep, I forgive you," but guess what? Stay out my space,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Selma.
and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let the people know that that's okay.
Okay, it's
It's okay
okay.
if
It's
you
okay.
agree. That's what if it's okay if you don't like me. It's okay if you don't agree with me. It's okay. It's okay.
It's
So
okay.
forgiveness is making yourself number one.
Right, and just being like, okay, you know, this situation is what it is, and I'm gonna still go ahead and do what I need to do for me, right? Because again, the forgiveness is for you.
This self-care, people. Mental health is self-care. It begins with you. You number one. If you ain't together, you ain't right. How you gonna go try to get the beam out somebody else's eyes on? That's scriptural. But you ain't even right yourself, but you trying to tell me how to be healed. Girl, go to a counselor. Okay? Get it together. Go. It's okay. It's okay. And everybody ain't gonna like you either. You forgive
And
them.
that's all right too.
And it's okay. Like, it's okay if
You
they
may not be everybody's cup of tea, and
You're
that is
not gonna
okay
be.
too.
You're
that's
not
I
gonna be
prefer coffee.
able to.
yeah, because I like this mushroom coffee here. And everybody don't drink that. So it's okay. Be who you are.
Smile, Mr. Pierce.
It's a what she said can still be what that mean? Cordial. Thank you. 'Cause we ain't talk about these folks, especially us people that's supposed to love God. You done forgave the person. Oh,
Hmm.
I forgave them. But you walk past and don't say nothing. Wow. I got well, I mean, I ain't gonna say I got an issue with that, but I be having an issue with folks. Be like, you supposed to love God. It's okay.
Hmm.
I ain't gotta be in your circle, right?
At all.
Do y'all
But we don't have to have a relationship.
I don't gotta have a relationship, but don't walk past me, don't say nothing. Though I don't like all that. We as we supposed to be spreading the love of God out in
Hmm.
First of all, I
Yeah.
do that because I feel awkward speaking to people. I have a question.
talking to you.
Conviction.
Very much so. So
Oh,
in terms of forgiveness,
ooh, Carolina did your sorry.
when a person who you not wronged has this ought against you that they created in their mind, and you may or may not feel a kind of way about it sometime, how do you forgive that?
What? Can you rephrase, please?
No, I said it exactly how it sounds.
You saying a person have something against you that you haven't done anything to?
Yeah.
And how do you forgive them for having something against you?
They've made up stories about you and told them to other people for no apparent reason. How do you forgive that?
I don't know.
You forgive them, pray
Mother.
for them, you pray
That's
for
it.
them.
You're gonna have to forgive them for making up them stories.
Gossiping.
It's
You're gonna have to forgive them for that.
Y'all
I
know,
have
but this is a
I have experienced that
I know that it's a true story.
it's life. People do it. Like she said, everybody's not gonna like you.
I
And,
forgive
and
them.
people do strange things.
Very much so.
People lie on you. People
Make
do
Facebook
strange
status.
That's right.
Oh,
So let me go forward so we can get done with this topic. This y'all is about self-care.
thank you, Media One.
Huh?
They are. I'm gonna shut up. Nothing.
You
I
ignore it.
like William.
Jealous.
She said,
Maybe.
and Media One said that's their issue, not yours.
Possible.
Yeah. I had her up there. If it's a lie and you know it, it's a lie. Don't entertain it. Keep moving.
Mhm.
Guys, I thank you for commenting. I really appreciate. We really appreciate you. And then yes, she said, then that's their issue, not yours. This has been, and I hope even us that's on this panel, we haven't arrived, y'all. Let me just look at y'all.
Mhm.
We haven't arrived. I'm a real person. Hello. They real people. Okay. So it's
And
okay.
I'm a real therapist, y'all. I'm a real therapist.
And I'm an almost real therapist.
And Miss Hendricks is a real therapist. Okay. We done been through some things, but we real people. So don't think we all above y'all. Well, they got it all together. No. Because listen, I had to forgive a couple of weeks ago. But I practice it. Hey, Juanita, you got any questions, girl, before we get off here? Hello. This is forgiveness. Oh, Juanita. Have you been on here all this time? This is about us as people forgiving whatever, emotional release and relationship. When someone has wronged you, how do you forgive? And do you forgive? And how you move on from it? And if you see how you know you forgave, that's what this is about. Because
Well,
a lot of times we think we have forgiven, and then we see that person or the situation, and oh my goodness, been there. So I could tell you, been there, thought I had forgave, but I wanted to smash the person's head somewhere.
Island. Shit.
but doesn't this require us, if we're going to get past something, if we're going to grow, and it requires us to change our mindset, our thinking?
Absolutely, and that's what happened. I had to change my mindset, but I got a lot of help though. So it wasn't easy because I was young, going through a situation. When I got an adult, I still was holding on to, and which caused me to even keep that unforgiveness of move on to the other person. Don't forgive them. Didn't know how to forgive, whatever. So yeah, you're right, Mr. Pierce. The mindset has to change. And I went through prayer. Yes, many prayers. I sat in a prayer crying till I had to forgive that person. And I knew the word, whatever, but it was a process. It was a process because I wanted to forgive. I didn't want to feel hurt. I didn't want to feel the pain. Even though I was young, that person did me wrong. Okay? Yeah.
It's just a mini story about therapy and whatnot. Yes, I'm about to tell y'all my business. I went to this one therapist who I ended up not going back to because bless her heart. She said, I told her about the situation, and she said I may have white knight syndrome, which is a God complex. Basically, you want to save.
What is it? A God complex?
Save people. They call it a God complex. You want to save people. So
That's what they
in my situation, that's why I was continually allowing what I now know to be broken people back into my life, because I saw the best in them, but they were at that time pretty terrible to me, at least. So once I learned about that, I had to pray and fast in order to release those situations out of my life, because whatever is inherently in me, I'm not necessarily saying is what she said, a God complex, you want to save people, but I know whatever is in me is meant to help people spiritually. So yeah, that was just my story about therapy and forgiving and understanding yourself and what's going on within yourself.
She just sparked a word that just came to my mind that I think we should add to this.
Tiffany.
To
Me.
get to a level of forgiving someone, whether it's something major, someone that you're super connected to, it requires you to show to have a level of mercy
Empathy.
and empathy, but show that mercy, because if you're only just looking at that person's wrong and you're not looking at putting yourself in their shoes, then you probably gonna beat that person down. It is very easy to do.
I did it
Yeah,
very well.
we beat people down until we wake up one day and say, "Ooh," or we do something wrong to someone, and then they're beating us down. It's like, I don't like this, but you know, it goes back to the old saying: do others as you want done unto you. And that get hard depending on the level of betrayal or wrong. That could be that could seem like the impossible challenge or an impossible task.
Like you breaking my screen.
I didn't break your screen.
Yes, you did.
So, so you guys, if you don't have any other questions, because we got our it's been very helpful. I hope you guys were helped. I just want to end with trust restoration. When forgiveness is practiced, it can gradually rebuild trust that may have been damaged by a transgression or aggression. Positive impact on well-being. Holding on to resentment can be emotionally draining, while forgiveness can lead to reduced stress and improve mental health. That is what happens when you forgive. I know probably like a lot of y'all probably say, well, hopefully you can go forward and forgive. It does not take away from what the person has done to you, or maybe if you allowed the person to do. But it's a mental health issue. That's what I say. Our mind is y'all. Which let me think. I want to say something like Yvette. You can keep. You can take over if you would like. But this has been we in our ministry. This is exactly what we are on. Forgiveness, because I don't care who you are. You can't go to the next level. Truly free.
Sharice, we did not ask.
Really, truly, you can't go to the next level. Really, truly, if you got to get free. You don't be no old person or mature person still holding on to stuff and not truly free. Freedom is what God desires for all of us to have. So I'm just gonna stop talking, and Yvette can take over. And I know when I have truly forgive it when it doesn't affect me emotionally and mentally. Absolutely. Like I said, it is a process, but God is so great, and I admonish all of y'all. If y'all don't know Jesus, get to know him, because it has helped all of us up here to be the people we are today, and we still growing. And will somebody step on your toes tomorrow? Absolutely, they will. Will they? Yes, they will. Will you have to forgive? Yes, you will.
Roll
Will somebody make you mad?
I'm gonna roll my eyes first.
And then you'll forgive.
And then you're forgiven. So I don't. You got any last? Not last words. Like we just the last word. Like Miss.
You pretty much summed it up. And forgiveness. What stays with me the most is forgiveness is for you.
Right.
It's for you.
Funny, that's what it say though. It's funny. Creative journey. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for being so true. It's healthy to forgive.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. Do you want to say something, Miss Hendricks? Miss Hendricks is a licensed counselor. We thank God for her being on our. She comes a lot of times, and she got the credentials. Not that we ain't got to have our name though. Anyway, it's not this plan. We have professional credentials, and I love her. She is down to earth. It's somebody I can actually talk to. She is helping me, and she don't even know it because she got the little girl up there.
Oh, thank you.
Helping her, she's helping me. It's just a part of my prayer. And
First of all, I learned what I know.
Pierce,
Um,
I'm on Mr. Pierce now. Is there anything you want to say, Miss Sandra?
No, I think that the wrap up again, just like Yvette just said, forgiveness is for you, and give yourself the space to do that, and do it in a way that is suitable for you. That's just the first step.
And if you need a counselor,
Get one.
you
don't get
Yeah.
one.
you need a counselor.
Don't get the one I have.
Don't get anybody though.
Miss Pierce, you still gonna be available next month to take insurance?
I am. So what's happening is I am. I will still be taking private pay cash. If you mention the broadcast, I will give you a discount on the private pay price. I am also going to be working though under an organization, and so I am credentialed under specific insurances under that um organization. And so I'll get the final list for you guys so that when I come back to visit, in case people are asking, I'll get that information to
We
you.
have people asking already, so
I will get that information to you guys.
thank you.
Sharice is asking.
It appears. Did you want to say?
I think we hit everything pretty well.
You stand in for the men, because a lot of men faithful.
I would say, or if you speaking to the men, I would say look deep within, and not just the men for this, but if there's somebody that you haven't forgiven, take that step, let it go, because your bitterness, your resentfulness, holding that in is hurting your relationships, and it's going to hurt your future relationships, and it's hurting you. So forgiveness is the first step to healing. So create some goals, create a plan for yourself to let go of those that have wronged you. Get those thoughts out your mind and move so you can move forward.
I love that. Thank you so much, Tiffany. So we can 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My Cash App is hashtag. I'm joking. I don't have anything.
So I'm gonna end the stream, but y'all stay on. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate you guys for coming. Hopefully, you got something out of what we all had to say, especially the professional. No, just kidding. But we just thank you for joining our podcast. Stay tuned. We're gonna have many more because people are hurting, and self-care is number one. Y'all know I keep saying this because I had to. I'm like real young, but I had to get to the point where, I start taking care of me, me first. It's nothing wrong with that. How can I take care of somebody else? I mean, how can I not take care of me? I hate I was late, but I love what I heard. Thank you so much, Juanita. We appreciate you, Media One, all you guys, Reese, Lola, Reese, Creative Journey, everybody that's on it, even listening. If you didn't have a question, we just thank you for being on here. Stay tuned for our next video, and we appreciate your call. And we are
straight up with the auntie. Straight up with the auntie. Straight up, giving you everything.